he happens to share a room with another Omaha roofer. And
supposed to.
And he's like, I'm not going to fucking share with this guy. Like, he's like freaking out. I'd never done this. My first time taking people to this international. I don't know Eric. Like, I'm over here.
Got to know me pretty fucking quick, though.
I was like, oh, shiz. Like,
hey, everybody. I'm Eric Obrempt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Obrempt. I am thrilled to announce our new sponsor, SMA Support Services. Huge shout out to them for supporting the mission of keeping it real and cutting through the noise and the bullshit. SMA Support Services doesn't just back our show. They're about leveling up business efficiency and making sure companies have the support that they need to thrive. So thank you, SMA Support Services, for making this episode possible. Let's get into it. I am super excited. You should be super excited because we have a special guest today. This is going to be fun. We're going to talk some history. We're going to talk some future. We're going to talk about some present. I'm just going to go ahead and introduce my guest right away and get into it. Thank you, Sam Taggart, for being here today, man.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, this is going to be awesome. We started talking a little bit before, we opened up here, about the podcast, like where it's came from, where it's going, and I mean you know the history a little bit,
very much so,
of how it started, right?
Yes.
Like you were closely involved in this, and I've told this story on stage before, but like the word literally like that came from Be Authentic was from us fucking sitting up on a mountain somewhere, doing an exercise, and I stole the word from Joshua Blanche.
Yeah.
Is that his last name? Blanche?
Yeah, Blanche.
Blanche. Yeah. I think I say his name wrong. And it's turned into this thing, right? It's turned into this thing that I never thought that it would. I never thought anybody would actually fucking watch it.
It's amazing. No, I was literally joking with this booth right here because we were talking about, I just got back from the circle trip in Croatia, and I was like,
which I heard was awesome.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Slovenia.
Yeah.
I'd recommend. Anyway, so I look over and I was like, see, like a lot of these people have been part of our community, like that guy and that guy. And I was like, and you never know if things are going to go crazy. Like that guy, I broke his wrist and we sat on a rock in the freaking Puerto Vallarta, and I was like, it was just funny. It like brought back a flood of like beautiful memories of just, deep real connection. You know what I mean? Like great.
The stuff that we did. So the first thing I want to do is, before we even start this, is we haven't got an opportunity to like really sit down, right? Like we're both fucking crazy busy. We have a hard time getting connected on the phone and sit down. And again, I talk about this, like I use this podcast selfishly because I get to have a captive audience with a friend sometime for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, right? And like normally we don't get to do that, right? And we get to actually have a conversation. But I want to start it off by first saying thank you. Like genuinely from my heart, thank you, because a lot of what I've done since we met has been because of stuff that we've done together and that you facilitated. And it got me to a place to realize how much I wanted to facilitate, right? But I wanted to do it in my way. And that wasn't and not coming from a place of, man, I'd do it different, like not that at all. No. It's just a matter of like I decided I wanted to be able to share scuba diving with people, right?
Beautiful.
And I said I want to be able to facilitate that experience for people because of how it changed my life, right? Like from a meditative state, from a spiritual place, like from all these different things how it changed my life. I'm like, I want to be able to give that to somebody, right? I gave that to Ty, right? That guy was deathly afraid of diving, deathly afraid. He showed up because he believed and trusted me. He went and did his book work and his pool work. He showed up to Cayman, scared. And by the end of it, he was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever done. When are we going again?
So cool.
And I was like, January.
Yeah.
And like booked another house and like put it together and showed up to that one. And I was like, nothing that I do is going to be at the same level of the stuff that we did together, especially in the beginning, right? But I want to organically see what happens, right? And we showed up there. I showed up with no plan.
Beautiful.
Showed up with no plan whatsoever, and I wanted to see what came of it. And by the end of it, the entire theme of the trip was fear. And these people overcoming their fears, and the people that already had experience showing up to help those people, which was fucking amazing.
That is so cool.
So amazing. And I just wanted to say thank you for that, because I couldn't have done it without.
I tomorrow at 6 a.m. get on a flight to Puerto Vallarta.
Yep.
Where that's really the first time
where it all started.
It all started.
Yep.
And so we rented a villa very similar. What year was that? 2020? No, 2019? 18. Yeah, it's like 18.
Yeah.
So to give context to listeners, we host these masterminds and stuff like that. And I was still new to this world. And Eric was like, who is this like young kid that wants me to go to Mexico? Like, I'm on the phone with him. He's like, I run a roofing company in Omaha. What are you going to teach me? I was like, just trust me, dude. He's like, well, I was like, just come to Mexico. He's like, when is it? It was like a week.
Yeah.
Next week. He's like, next week. And I was like, yeah, just, what are you, like, scared? And he's like, I'm not scared. Like, he's just like, I'm coming. Fuck.
Yeah.
Convince him to come out. He happens to share a room with another Omaha roofer. And
supposed to.
And he's like, I'm not going to fucking share with this guy. Like, he's like freaking out. I'd never done this. My first time taking people to this international. I don't know Eric. Like, I'm over here.
Got to know me pretty fucking quick, though.
I was like, oh, shiz. Like, well, little does he know, in like a day, I'm about to drop him in the jungle by himself for 12 hours. And he's like, what the hell? Like, in all the resistance. And to watch, like, kind of this, like, ego and this walls up and this, like, me mentality to like your transformation over the last 7 years of like, it is wonderful. Like, it is so cool to see your energy shift, to see your visions and mission and alignment and where you spend your time and energy and just like how you're doing bigger things. Like, that to me is like the most fulfilling piece, right? Like when you facilitate for that guy that like overcame a fear, it's one thing to see it like temporarily in that moment where they're having their ahas or their breakdowns or their this or that, but like once you see somebody in 3 years or 5 years, or you know what I mean, like you're just like, wow, like remember when the conversations were this? Now what's the conversations? Does that make sense? Like, remember when you thought it would be cool to be this? Because we often overestimate what we can do in 1 year, we underestimate what we can do in 5. And oftentimes we're never exposed and or had the lid lifted enough for us to know even what we're capable of. Like if somebody would have said to you back then, hey, you're going to be writing books and have a podcast and doing conferences, and you know, like you would have been like, ah ha ha, that's funny. You know what I mean?
Coaching people.
Like that
like,
would have been.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like
no way. You would
have just laughed. Like you had never even done coaching. Like think about that. Like had you ever even done coaching?
No.
See what I mean? Like you were super closed off. I think you were just at a point in your life where you're at a fork in a road. And I think that's what happens. Like most people, they don't even think about a coach or coaching until they hit a fork in their road and they're like, okay, something greater is calling from within me. I could either succumb back and ignore this feeling. And I think that was a moment in your life where you were just like, I need something.
Yeah.
And the ego was heavy, but
it was also the people that were there that were able to allow me to trust and open up, right? Because I am naturally a closed off, introverted, type person, and I like to survey and figure out. See, there goes the lights. Sorry, Lexi, it's gonna get dark, but you're gonna have to like lighten this shit up for us. Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen, but we're doing it anyway. A lot of people listen to this on audio anyway, so that's okay. The people there that were able to get me to open up, because like I said, I'm naturally introverted as a human. And like I went to this new event because I realized that I had gotten really comfortable in the circles that I was in, right? Whether it was when I was in the circle or if I was going to revolt events or whatever, and I'd show up and everybody fucking knows who I am. Right? And I was like, ooh, I need to get out of that. I need to fucking get out of that world, right? And I was like, so I went to New York, where I had never been to New York before. I went to New York and went to a Steve Sims event.
Oh, cool.
And I'm hiring him now to be my speaking coach. And like my goal for 25 is to get on 10 paid stages next year, right? And now I believe that I'm worth it. Like, I know that what I put out into the world is valuable. I know that what I fucking help people with does actually help them, and I provide things. And so I'm done doing it for free. I did it for free for 2.5 years, and like, I'm done with that, right? Like, either people see the value in me or they don't, right? And if they don't, fine, like, cool, then I'll learn that, right? And that's cool. Or I'll decide to get better so that they do. But I decided I needed to get out of that comfort zone that I was in. And the first time I did that was with you, right? The first time I did that was with you. But then I became, that not micro famous, but like that, in that little world, right?
Yeah.
But how do I take the next?
Yep.
How do I take the next step?
I feel you 100%.
Right.
On the same level.
Yeah.
And I spoke in Miami a month ago to a big real estate conference, and I spoke in Dallas to the National Sellers Association, and these are like the owner of, these big MLM groups and EXP. Never heard of me, right?
Right.
And I walk up on that stage, and I was like so used to speaking in my own sphere. Like this breakout, dude, I'm like, I packed the room, standing room only. Everybody's like, oh, it's Sam, what's up? I'm like swaggy up there. I can do whatever. I get there, and I'm like, whoa, I should have read the room. Was
it hard to pull the swaggy out?
Bro. I got there, went backstage, didn't even look at the audience, went onto stage an hour later, and I did everything behind the scenes. Like, they were doing makeup on me. They had a whole thing, and I get up on stage, and I'm like trying to move them, and nothing. Crickets. Like, I'm talking like crickets.
Really?
Like any move that I'm used to, like, this works, like I get them on that, they'll laugh on that.
Nothing.
So I'm like 5 minutes in, kind of scratching my head. Not like obvious. Like, I'm a good speaker. I speak a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was just like, okay, change the tune. I jump off the stage. I'm 5 minutes in, and I just was like, we're going different style on this, and I just start working with people.
Did you?
People, and it was so fun. Like, by the end, everyone was just loving it. They're like, who's this hippie dude, right?
Yeah.
But like, it hit me, and I was so like, it was like a ton of bricks in the face of like, you're not that cool, and you are such a small fry, and like a big fish in this little teeny pond of roofing and solar cats, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And these people have no idea who you are, and so what's your speech, Sam, is if no one knew who you were.
Right.
And I was like, that's interesting. That changes the keynote. We had Colin O'Brady, who's coming to Door to Door Con this year, and I would consider him one of my probably better storytellers and speakers I've ever seen. Like, you know how like James Lawrence is really good, Jesse Itzler's really good. He's coming here tomorrow, and like certain guys that just know how to deliver a good story.
Yep.
And he came to Croatia with us, and so I was able to kind of pick his brain for a while and like how he frames things and whatnot. And it really has been my intention, and I think yours, it sounds like, to what's the keynote that should be told if no one knew who you were.
Yeah, I love that. And it takes a minute to figure that out, right?
Because not door to door it's not relevant to anyone else but our little world.
So what are you changing it to?
I have one called Expand. That's the human development system I've been passionate about. But that also, like, so Eat What You Kill is the new book I'm coming out with.
Right.
It's January. It's on pre-order. Love your guys' help. Go order it. You can find it on Barnes & Noble and Amazon, all of them. But it's this concept of thinking, how do we turn a Eat What You Kill mentality? So it's not just like a door-to-door sales book. It's like a sales culture that the world is lacking. I think in today's world, the keynote that everyone could hear is what's the carnivore in you that maybe had died or has been domesticated, or like, you know what I mean? You just think like we've tamed ourselves so much, and everybody's running businesses and trying to scale and whatnot, but they're so dependent on a marketing funnel and on a inbound lead instead of like how do we change to be hunter mentalities versus carnivore or herbivore?
Right. How do you do that?
So, I mean, there's a whole framework in the book, right? So go get the book.
Go get the book.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. No, but think like we've domesticated. So it's like you drop a husky in the wild and it's not going to go hunt a caribou, right? Like it's you domesticated it, right?
Yep.
So the hard part is unlearning some of your things that are natural, like the natural prey drive in you is there. Like we all want to go have the dopamine hit when you go hunt. Like that's why people love hunting. They're like, I got the thing. Like, but it takes 6 days in the wilderness to go shoot a buck or something.
Right.
It's the dopamine hit. So if you can help people find the wins from them doing the hard things. So why does somebody go run a marathon? They get a runner's high. Why does somebody go climb Everest? They get a climb. Like there's this accomplishment center. And I think what's been disassociated is that sense of accomplishment because somebody closes a deal off of a hand spoon lead. The fulfillment, the harder, like the challenge, meaning the deeper you go into like suffering, the higher the reward. And so it's teaching that balance. And I think expanding people's feeling around the struggle and the feeling around the victory and introducing those into culture and then just teaching the behaviors of them self-finding. Yeah. I mean, there's behaviors of prospecting, whether it's cold calling, door knocking, whatever it is, but it's an active way of belly to belly cold call, like conversationalist to go find business.
Yeah. And that drops in January.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get mine to drop in January as well. Did I tell you that I was writing a new book?
I didn't. Yeah.
So I hired a company to work with, and I'm writing it now. And the title of it is called Shut the Fuck Up and Listen.
Oh, that's good.
And so the premise behind it is that I'm talking about the team method, right? And I'm talking about how to create a culture inside of your family and in your workplace by utilizing trust, empathy, authenticity, and meaning, just, like my keynote that I talk about. But the bigger revelation that I had in the last couple of years is that the concept of shutting up and listening more has went by the wayside because there's so much fucking noise in the world, and everybody goes into a room now and thinks that they have to be the smartest guy in the room. And what people don't realize is that the smartest guy in the room is fucking quiet, and he's listening and he's absorbing so that he can do the things that he's learning. And it doesn't mean we don't give back and we don't teach and we don't help and we don't do all those things, but can you be still? Can you be fucking quiet and just absorb sometimes? Because that isn't a skill set, I think, that is taught as much today, right? Because we live in this society of ego, right? And everybody needs to feel like they've got the answer, right? And you don't always have to have the answer.
Yes.
Right? And so I've really gotten passionate about that. And because I use it in my recovery space as well, because I might get a sponsee or somebody that's new into recovery, like, what do I do? And I'm like, first, you could just shut the fuck up and listen because you don't know everything, because if you did, you wouldn't be here. Right? You wouldn't be at a rehab facility if you knew everything. You wouldn't be here asking for my help if you fucking knew everything. Yeah. So let's just slow down and shut up a little bit, right? And I know, and that obviously sounds aggressive and whatever, and that's the point, to grab attention. But how do we listen more?
Yeah.
And so that's the premise of the book. I'm really excited about it. I was really scared, and then I'm going to put my recovery stories in it and everything, because I want people to be able to see that as well. But I didn't want it to be a recovery book. Yeah. I didn't want it to be a business book, right? Even though it's going to be that, right? It's going to be in the business section or whatever. Yeah. But it's a personal growth and journey book through business, and how do we utilize those pillars and those things in our business, but with our people, right? With our spouses, with our kids, right? Are we listening to our kids? Are we listening to our spouses? Or are we always having to be the fucking guy telling them what's right? Because a lot of times we can't give the right answers to them unless we can hear them. Yeah. We need to hear more. We need to listen more. And I don't know why I became so passionate about that the last year or so, but I did. And so I decided to fucking write the book.
That's awesome.
So we'll see how it does, but
That's awesome.
it's exciting. But who the hell would have thought that would have happened
Yeah,
when we met, right?
No. I mean, multiple books, and that is the opposite of what I thought of Eric when I first met you.
Yes.
It's quiet, listen, sit, talk less, and it's wisdom. Like you said, I think of like the tortoise in Panda, in Kung Fu Panda. Think of like, why do they always make the wise the quiet owl, the older, like you don't think of them as the snappy, run around in circles, Tigger the tiger. You think of them as something a lot more, I don't need the show and the flash and tell everybody that I'm so smart. And last night at dinner, I'm with Dan and Tony Flatham, and and it's funny, Dan is the loud, talkative, and he looks at me and he's like, look at Tony just sit there and observe this guy. And he's in this conversation of 3 people, and he says, that dude's just a sponge. And little does that guy know, he's running a multi-million-dollar roofing company, and Tony's just sitting there just like taking notes and inquisitive and curious, and we're just observing how Tony was playing in this conversation. And I was like, damn, that is so true. But he's the big cheese, right?
Right. Because he's learning.
He's learning.
Right? He's constantly learning. He's running a giant company.
Yeah.
And he's still figuring out how to get better.
Yeah. 100%.
Right? And are we all doing that?
100%.
Yeah. Hey everybody, we're going to take a quick little break here. I want to stop and thank our new sponsor. If you're serious about getting your time back and scaling your business, then SMA Support Services is your secret weapon. I use SMA for all of our support and admin tasks. Everything from back office management, day-to-day admin, even a call center. Their team frees up my staff to stay focused on high-level, revenue-generating activities. And that, let me tell you, is a fucking game changer. SMA isn't just support. They're a partner that keeps our operations running smooth and efficiently. So if you want to focus on growing your business and leave the support work to the pros, hit up SMA Support Services. What are you most excited for this upcoming year? Because you always got something new fucking going on. Or can you talk about it? Are you under an NDA, Sam?
No, I mean, it's my own thing. I don't have an NDA. I have a couple. So one is like we launched our own knocking app and CRM called the DDD CRM.
Oh, okay.
So that's been out for about a year, but I'm just not like loud about it. So I try not to promote it too much just because it's free and I don't want to bug everybody. So
right.
Okay, it's dope.
Right.
Saves people on average $50 to $100 a month per Salesforce license or any CRM or knocking.
Okay.
So it's quite a big savings for a lot of companies. Yeah. But the other big one is we're doing a really cool roofing play in the private sector that we've taken quite a few of our clients, bolted them together to make it should be close to $500,000 or $500 million roofing company in 12 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Wait, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you like rolling people up?
In a really interesting way.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been a fun, that's why I was like, I don't want to be so loud about it.
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm not trying to push. Yeah.
But there's some things in the pipe that is like really going to disrupt and it'll be a cool roof play.
Good.
Definitely really
good.
Fun.
The other thing that I want to say that just came to my mind, because again, we don't get to talk as often as we should, is how happy I am for you for finding your partner.
Oh, D's the best.
Like I said, we've known each other a while now. And I've seen you go through different seasons, right?
4.
Yeah.
4 good seasons.
Yeah, and like fucking different.
Different
like
seasons.
Very different seasons, right? Yeah. And the one that you're in now is the happiest I've ever seen you. I've seen you confused. I've seen you...
Guys, I was not gay for a time.
I mean, a little.
I just love you.
It's only gay if you push back, Sam. But I genuinely want to say, like, that makes me happy, because like I knew some of the like struggles you were going through, whether it was spiritual struggles or it was fucking personal struggles, or you know what I mean, just all the stuff that we all go through, right? But like, and you share some of it and some of it you don't, and you keep it tight, and you know, we all do that, right? But I've just, over the last year, 2 years, how long you and Dee been together?
2.5 years.
Yeah, but the last 2 years, last 2.5 years, like, is the happiest that I've seen you, and that just makes me happy, like, for real. Like,
it's a huge thing. I think, like, you know, to put context, if you don't know my story, I married 9 years, 3 kids, and, you know, Eric and team were all part of the initial circle where I was married and unhappy, right? So think, like, there's, like, the phases. There's like single and unhappy, single and happy, married and unhappy, married and happy, right? Like the ideal, the most like pinnacle is...
That's ideal.
Ideal, married and happy, right? And I just was 7 years of counseling and just couldn't figure it out. So every time we go on these retreats, it's like everybody's like working on their business. I'm like, I got sales down. Like, we're good. Like, I just can't be happy when I go home. Like, it was like, that was my life.
You were the happiest when we were gone.
Yeah, I was like, get me out of here. Like, I can't go home and feel safe. And finally, I got divorced and then went through a single phase, happy single, then unhappy single. You're like, I need my person.
Right.
And then dated around and had some relationships and then found my person. And I think that, like, I believe man and woman to be oneness. Like, I think that's where God put us together. It's just like that beauty and that harmony. And that doesn't mean everything's perfect. And I'm finding, you know, as you go through a relationship, it's not meant to come without hardship.
Right.
It's meant to have its polarity. It's meant to have its challenges. But I think it's the navigation and the healing through those challenges and being able to have this opportunity to go through that again. And I'm almost like, I made all the mistakes on the first one kind of thing, and just be like, okay, we're not making those same steps. Like, I'm intentional. I'm present. I'm decisive. I'm choosing this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a much different entering with a different frequency into this relationship, and it's been really beautiful.
The cool thing is watching you both thrive.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when I got to interview Dee at I think it was at Win the Storm or whatever, it was so nice. Like, it was genuinely, I don't know if you got to watch much of that episode or whatever, but like, I really enjoyed just sitting there and getting to talk to her. Like, she's just, I don't know, she's just this spirit. She's a different human. Like, she's from a different planet. Yeah.
I swear, half the time, like, are you reading my mind?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, other than just like, this episode is not for fucking you people that are watching. Like, this episode is for me and Sam. Like, this is like, I'm just so happy that I get to be here, right? And get to be here with you, because our paths don't get to cross as much as they used to. And, when I think about it, that's because of you, and that's because of what we did, together, and the path that I was set on after that. I mean, that's why I get to do a lot of this stuff. It's why I get to do, like, I got my own group, right? I've got my little culture movement group where I get to help people and have group calls every, twice a month. And I've got these amazing dudes in there that, like, I literally, when I built it, I framed it and I said, I want this to be what the circle was when we started it. Yeah. Not when we started it, but like when I started in it, right? Like when you used to.
I mean, you had Josie Parks, who owns Win the Storm. You had Jake Bennington. You had like that original
Steven. Fucking like
there were some real cool cats, like on an early basis of that was like, and I look at where all of them have kind of flocked to, and you're just like, wow, like
just so magical. Cool. Yeah, but it was that tight knit. And you've done a great job of, obviously you've, 100x the fucking thing, and made it huge, and, whatever. But it changes the dynamic. And I was like, I really want to have that intimate again, right? I missed that intimate. And when I originally did it, like, I was sitting with Claudio, Mike, Mike, right? Mike, Claudio? Well, so I was sitting with Mike, and I was like, what I want to build is the thing that's like us, right? Like a me, you, Mike, Hunter, like these guys, and we go dive, or we go, you know what I mean? Like, it's just us, so we're not having to pour in people.
That's what the bucket list trips that we do are.
Right.
We should collab. Like that's where Mike O'Donnell and I planned that. I was
going to go on that.
Yeah, that was fun.
I was going to go on that because he invited me. We were at something, and he invited me to go. I was 100%. I went to Natalie, and I was like, I want to do this. And then I looked at the fucking dates. The last day of it was Tegan and I's birthday. And I was like, there's no fucking way that I'm going to be across the world on our birthday because we have the same birthday, right? And there's just no way. She wins every time.
We've done, we did South Africa, Egypt, heli skiing. We've done a lot. We should do, next year we're planning out the year, but that's what the point of the bucket list trips were.
Yes.
Was go get high vibe people. There's no business. It's just pay for the trip and the experience. We'll plan it all. And then we just go. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just magical.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I love doing. Right. I love experiences.
Yeah.
And you opened me up to that. Near death experiences. Fucking I was less unhappy getting my arm broken than I was when I thought I was going to die in Lake Powell. I genuinely thought I was going. When you weren't there yet, right? You guys were still fucking off and trying to come back, and it was me and what's
Travis?
No,
it was
Jared,
Jason Harris.
No.
You guys were all still in the boat, right? Waiting for us.
There was no fucking boat, Sam.
The boat flew away, but you were waiting by where the boat should have been.
Yes.
We
were there. And then Minky fucking rolled down the goddamn hill and scraped her ass up.
Yes.
And she's crying down at the middle. She's motherfucking Travis, fuck you, motherfucker, and screaming at him. He's not talking to her.
Yeah.
And we're sitting up there, and I swear to God, I stood there and I thought to myself, this is where I die. I was like, this is where I die. There's no boat. There's there's no fucking people. There's no service. Yeah. How long can I drink this dirty fucking water before I fucking die? It could take 20 days before somebody comes down this goddamn pipe again to find us.
Wild kid. Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep outside on this hard desert fucking rock. I'm gonna get bit by a fucking scorpion. I'm gonna die. Yeah. Sam's gonna try and suck it out of my fucking leg when I get bit. I was like, this is where I die. I'm never gonna see Tegan again. This all literal, I'm not even joking. It ran through my head.
Oh, it was the best.
I was so fucking mad.
Everybody's like, where the fuck?
I was so mad.
So to put context, if you're listening, we parked this boat in the middle of this, we're in the boonies of Lake Powell.
Yes.
No service. And we get back and it's getting pitch black. It's getting dark and the boat's gone. And we were like, oh, what do we do? It floated around the corner. You
couldn't see it.
Couldn't see it. We were just freak. And so we were scrambling, trying to come up with solutions. And I was like, wait, what if it floated that way?
Well, somebody accidentally got high enough to walk down and see it. And then everybody was like, this was the best part, though, because everybody was like, well, how are we going to go get it? And we all looked at you and were like, fuck you, you go get it.
I just swam. And it was gross water over there.
Of course it was.
It was gross bark. I was like, no.
But that all being said, to be fair, just to pull it all full circle, that was scary. But the ride back was scarier.
Yeah, you're in the pitch black. No, we're
flashlights. The moon was below the fucking mountain, was below the plateau. So there was no light and the boat's 6 feet wide and the goddamn thing's 9 feet wide, and you're going 100 miles an hour because you're like, no, I remember it by memory. I know the fucking turns. I'm like, no, you don't, Sam. Fucking slow down.
Could be a boulder in the middle of nowhere.
And the water was down. Dude, low as shit.
We went just barely a month ago, and freaking we're done with the trip. It's the stupidest trip I've ever been down there. Go every year, right? And I get to the place, the screen won't turn on my boat, so it's I take it to the shop, they can't fix it. Finally, it's just do it with the key. Couldn't check the speed or fill up the ballasts. We're going home, and I was like, F this, we're leaving. And as D's going to get it out of the water, hits the prop. I was like, damn it. So remember how you hit the problem?
Yeah.
Every year at Lake Powell.
Really?
$14,000 later, bro. I'm like,
Oh my
it's
God.
my brand new boat. I'm
Really?
like,
How fast was she going?
like 4 miles an hour.
I was
like
gonna
you,
say,
like
I was
you.
barely
like
fucking
you,
moving.
bro. Like
Yeah.
exactly like you. Like I was like, and it was in the middle of the lake, like yours, where it was
Right.
like, really? Like right here?
Right here?
We've driven by this like
100 times. Yeah.
It was the same.
Fuck that lake.
That's happened to me like 4 times now. Bro.
I think it's a sign.
Like I was like, hey, we did it without breaking anything. Yeah, we were like, damn it, we were leaving in 5 minutes.
Oh
We
my
needed to
God.
and the same thing with you, with the whole week.
Yeah.
And it was like the last day.
Well, no, it wasn't the last day. I was trying to take Minky back
Yeah.
to get bandages for her ass. I was trying to do something good.
Yes.
And we were literally just pulling away. Okay, I know we're getting late here, but the last story that I want to end with is the story that that I tell on stage when I'm doing my keynote. And this kind of goes back to the beginning, just when I said thank you. The story that I want to tell is I want everybody to know the kind of human that you actually are. Because when we went on that trip, or we went on the Mexico trip, and then it was one of the Lake Powell trips, because I think I went with you 2 or 3 times to Lake Powell, right? And one of the times that we went, it was the first time that we went, and I showed up there, and like I didn't really, like, I was out of place, right? I was out of place, and I felt pretty judged, especially by Cody, right? Did I ever tell you I called Cody out on that?
Yeah, out of all the people.
Right, but yeah, who he is now, right? Like, I love that guy now.
Yeah.
Fucking hated him then, and I told him so, right? Like, later. I interviewed him. Did you ever watch that interview? You gotta watch that. It's funny. But so, we're on the boat, and I get called out by this fucking, what I thought was 18-year-old kid. It's like, maybe people don't like the way you speak. And I was like, oh, I accept your feedback, and fucking arms open, because Sam told me to. And, but I motherfucked him in my brain, the rest of the night, and I was so fucking mad. And the next day, we get on the boat, and we're going back to the dock, and Sam's asking me if I, what'd you think? What'd you think of the trip? And, you're going to come back? You're going to do this? And I was like, look, man, I don't really think that this is, I don't think this is for me. Like, these aren't my people. And, people want me to change how I speak and how I act and, who I am and all these things. And keeping in mind that at that time you weren't with D at the time, right? Like, you were still you were like still, pretty devout,
Mormon,
right? And which I kind of assumed that you judged me as well at the same time.
I did. I never swore. I never drank. I never
Right.
and I'm over here like this tatted up ex-con,
fucking felon.
Yeah, felon. Like, I'm over here like pretty little Mormon white kid.
Right.
Like, just like
still got his garments on underneath his fucking swimsuit.
Exactly.
But we get back to the dock, and I tell you all of this, and I'll never forget you looking at me, and you looked at me and you said, nah. You're like, screw that. Stay exactly who you are. Do exactly what you think you're supposed to do, because that's how you're going to attract the people that are going to want to be attracted to you and that you're going to want to be around. Don't ever change who you are, because that's how you're going to win and that's how you're going to succeed. And I literally, I took that and ran with it. Maybe to my detriment at certain times in my life, maybe, but I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with it, because I go to bed every night knowing that anybody that surrounds himself with me is there because they want to.
Yeah.
And not because they feel like they have to, or that I could do something for them, or, whatever it is. It's because they genuinely want to be there, because they know exactly who I am every time that I show up. And there were times in the last couple of years in relationships that I had with other people that I felt very judged, and I thought that maybe I needed to change how I interacted and how I showed up. And I literally go back to that conversation, and I'm like, no.
They're just not my people.
They're just not my people, and I have to be okay with that. But sometimes that's really hard, and for people watching, I think that that's something like that it takes a while to learn that, right? But like, you got to be okay with you.
Well, and guys, I love Eric, and I've always said this, and it was to everybody's surprise, because the normal white Mormon Sam pretty well straight edge kid, young, you know what I mean? Like they're like, wow, that's not like that's a weird combo, right? Like they're like, oh, like, is that your tribe? And I go, more so than you think.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think more people think they're like, Sam, you're going to attract or you're going to have. And I'm like, no, I just like working with people that can be them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in sales and in business, too many people try to be somebody else.
Yes.
Sam, teach me how to be like you or sell like you. And I'm like, no, it's not about that. It's like about authentic transfer of energy. And my authentic transfer of energy is pretty influential a lot of times when I speak or when I transact or sell somebody something. And if you have that, then like lean hard on it. But guess what? If you don't have maybe the charisma or the wittiness on stage, what if you brought like your power to stage? Like mine's more goofy, loofy, right?
Right.
What if you brought more seriousness and statistics to your sales process, where mine, I'm like, that doesn't matter, just buy. And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like sell with your superpower, run your business with your superpower, recruit with your superpower. And I think what attracted me to Eric, and I think where we've created a beautiful friendship, is through, you can always count on Sam being Sam, like, and you can count on Eric being Eric. And what's beautiful is Eric's actually willing to call you out. Like the second part of his podcast, GTFO, is the part that I actually need in my life. And I think more people need that part, in the sense of, do you have friends or clients or network or a coach or whatever, right, that's willing to be like, that's not you, you know, hey, I see you deviating, this seems inauthentic. And I think that's the power of what you've been building, and gotta honor you for that, man.
Thank you. And I never knew what I was building. I was just trying to build something, and I don't know, I'm in a really weird, awesome state of gratitude right now.
Good.
I'm really glad that we got to do this. It really means a lot to me, because I'll be honest, not to sound whatever, but like, I miss you.
Yeah, no.
Right? I miss you. I miss us hanging out. I miss us being able to have those conversations. And I know that our lives have kind of forked and, you know, whatever, but like, it means a lot when we get to get back together and have these conversations and reminisce and figure out how we're going to be moving forward in the future, and, you know, get outside of our little, you know, cosms, and, you know, and do those things. And it's, I don't know, it's exciting to see. And
there's still a long runway.
Yeah, man, we got a lot. We still got a lot to do.
Yes,
we still got a lot to do. I'm going to keep trying to catch up and go from there. Sam, I always, at the end of the episodes, you haven't been on for a while, so at the end of the episode, though, I always give the floor back to the guest on anything that we touched on, I didn't go far enough, or anything that you want to make sure that I'm left with, the guest, the audience is left with, to let you kind of close it out.
Yeah. Guys, I mean, if you made it this far, like, obviously you like Eric enough and value education enough. And I think, like, people, you know, going back to Eric had the humility to be part of a program and realize that he needed help, and made the fear, the risk he overcame. And he's watching, what was his name, Tim or whatever, go to the scuba dive thing, and Ty, right? He had to overcome like some ego and say, I don't know these people that are going to be at this random thing in the Cayman Island. You know what I mean? And it's like, at the end, he's going, when's the next one, right? Like, I think people need to realize that they're living in comfortable complacency of lacking experiences in life, because they're afraid to jump into those experiences, and trying new audiences, trying new hobbies, meeting new people, comes at a fear of insecurity, right? Like, there's this like element of like, well, what's gonna come? I don't, like, yeah, maybe not all of them are like home runs, but like, I find people should always at least try something once. You know what I mean? Get all the coaches, do all the things, like try it all, like, and then find your thing, right? And I think so many people are spectating in life way too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't watch sports very often. I don't like if you're like, Sam, who won the Masters? I'm like, I don't know. But guess what? I'd like to go play golf with Eric.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I would very much so enjoy a round of 18. Like, but I don't like watch. I don't know who's playing in the. Is it hockey going on right now? I have no idea. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I would like to go to a game with some good people and enjoy that time experiencing together a hockey game, but not like I have to know the statistics of watching. You know what I mean? And I think that's where we've been just conditioned and fearful of like getting in the game and experiencing things, and that's what life's about.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Sam, thank you so much for being here. Guys, if you didn't get anything out of that, sorry about the lights, by the way, but guys, if you didn't get anything out of that, like there's something fucking wrong with you. Thank you for tuning in. Again, well, actually, no sponsors yet. Here's the cool thing. Coming soon, new title sponsor for Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We will probably drop new promos in here after we announce that. But we do have a new strategic partner coming up that I'm super excited to announce. I believe in everything that they do. And I believe in the cult culture movement. So if you're looking for an amazing group of men to raise you up, if you need some people around you and you have decided that the people around you are not pushing you in the right direction and are maybe keeping you stagnant, if you think that you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong fucking room. So come find a new room. Check out Cult Culture Movement at cultcultureprogram.com. Reach out to me. We'll do an interview and see if you fit. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And remember, everybody, to please be authentic or get the fuck out.
Can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.